everyone, and welcome to the series premiere of WeatheredTunic's anticipation for the next week in gaming. This week I've got Cassidy Moser from Leviathan,
Hello, hello.
and we'll jump right into it. So basically the concept of this stream is going to be games we're looking forward to in the coming week and a couple weeks maybe in the future beyond that. So to start off with, recent announcement, there was an Xbox Live sale that's going to be going on. Huge discounts on a lot of Xbox Live content, and I mean I don't know much else beyond that to say about it. There's just
There's a bunch of games. It looks like I'm looking at the list right now. It's most of the Assassin's Creed titles, the Batman titles. You got most of the Call of Duties. Looking like, supposedly it looks like they're going to be 85% off on a lot of these, which is awesome. The Xbox Live itself doesn't really, I don't know. Yeah, I can get much better deals on PSN and Steam on a weekly basis, so it's
right. It sounds like they're trying to move some legacy titles, some earlier versions of some games that are going to be releasing new versions soon or have released new versions recently.
It would make sense. Yeah, they've got like Tomb Raider on here, and they've got some of the Call of Duties, you got the Assassin's Creeds, those are games that you can count on seeing soon.
Exactly. Right.
Sure.
New Black Ops content coming next week. It's basically just the same stuff that came to Xbox recently is now going to be coming to PC and PS3. The Black Ops Revolution.
Yeah, that's I think 360 had a timed exclusive on that one. So, are you a Call of Duty fan, Casey? Do you play at all?
I used to. I played up to and including Black Ops, but I've switched over to Battlefield, so I haven't been playing a whole lot of Black Ops, but it's mostly just because it just seems like it's the same stuff over and over again now.
See, I've always kind of been lukewarm to Call of Duty. I ended up reviewing Black Ops 2 this year. And that game is actually really fun. Like, it's kind of it's one of my like quick gaming fix sort of games. I could just jump on there, play through the multiplayer, and ended up reviewing Revolution as well. And if you're a Call of Duty fan, it's totally worth buying. It's like 4 new multiplayer maps. You got like the skate park one is pretty cool. It's very flat. Like there's not a lot of like elevation to it. So if you're a sniping fan, it's not really a map for you. But there's a lot of really cool places where you can hide. Campers would love it. It's fun and it's really colorful. The presentation's really nice. Then you've got like the downhill one, which is the ski one, and that one's a little bit more traditional Call of Duty style map.
Control the high ground and get good position on your opponent there.
Very much so. They've got some like environmental hazards in there. It's kind of cool. Like it's interesting. They've got there's Mirage, I think it's called. It's the one in Gobi Desert. It's like this old, worn out hotel that's just been like decrepit.
Which is like 90% of Battlefield 3 maps.
Is it? I've never played Battlefield 3. My brother's real big into it.
Yeah, a lot of them. It's a lot of Middle East maps where you're basically fighting within a city or fighting, making landfall in a Middle Eastern like small city where you've got to make your way through the buildings, and there's the hotels and stuff like that spouted up since the modern day touristy stuff has developed. And
sure,
there's not a whole lot of map diversity for Battlefield, but the game style it's less trying to get as many kills as possible and kill death spread and all that stuff, and it's more about the objective based gameplay. So
would you say it's a little more tactical?
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, because you got vehicular warfare, you've got squad based gameplay, you've got the support classes actually required to do support. You got your snipers who can pick out targets for the engineers to take out. It's definitely quite a bit more tactical, from what I've been able to gather from Black Ops and other Call of Duty titles.
Sure. See, what makes Black Ops 2 really good, especially the multiplayer, is that they kind of revamped the whole system, and they introduced this pick 10 system, I think is what it's called. So basically, it allows you to just customize your loadout down to weapon attachments and perks, and it's really, really cool because it allows you to really kind of make it fit your own playstyle, which is really it's really smooth, and I like it a lot. It doesn't come with quite the preset mindset that so many of the past Call of Duty multiplayer games came with, and it's made it really hard for me to go back and try to play any others. So it's good.
That's
Now, are
good
you a Zombies? Are you a Zombies fan at all? Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
No, not at all. I do not. I did not like any of the zombie stuff. It was mostly because I just lacked the skill required to do anything with them. So I
Sure.
always just ended up getting like third level and picking the wrong gun or picking like the wrong strategy and just getting overrun too quickly. So I haven't played enough of that to really get into it. But I did play it a couple times and not a
Yeah.
big fan.
No, I'm totally with you on that. I feel like it's completely one-dimensional. I've never been a big Zombies fan. Even in like Black Ops 1, I remember playing it, and it's just like, it just felt like tower defense with bullet sponges, and it just got really old really fast.
Mm.
And the Zombies, in Revolution, they introduced this new Zombies mode in Turned, and that's where you play as a zombie, and it's like, if I remember correctly, you've got 4 players, 3 of them play as a zombie, 1 person plays as like a human. So your goal is to kind of take the human, and then if you can manage to kind of get the human, you switch and you automatically respawn as the human with a weapon. So everybody's kind of hunting you.
Right.
So that sounds like it could be really interesting, but the execution of it is terrible. Like in the map pack itself, it just feels completely. It just doesn't feel fully realized. Like the map itself is about the size of a bathroom. Like it's super small.
Sounds like an afterthought. They
Yeah.
had to add some zombie content, so they tossed that in there.
Kind of tacked in. Yeah, it could have been really interesting because, like I said, it's completely different from any of the other modes that they've done in the past with zombies. But it was like zombies move super fast. It's like 1 death kills, and like it feels so erratic. It's so bizarre.
And that's one of the reasons, something that endears me to the Walking Dead type of gameplay, and with the zombies that are real slow, and you know, it's something you'd expect from zombies. That's one of the reasons I don't like playing Left 4 Dead or anything like that. When a zombie can run 5 times faster than you, something is a little, awry with your zombies there. So.
I'm of a mind that there are two types of zombie games. There's kind of the fun shoot 'em up, sort of just get with friends and hang out, Left 4 Dead and Black Ops 2 type zombie games, and then there's, the narrative-driven, really compelling story kind of based games like The Walking Dead. Because I'm totally with you. I love The Walking Dead. It was one of my favorite games of last year. But at the same time, I don't mind Left 4 Dead because it's kind of mindless and it's just sort of fun and just team up with your friends. So like, I would totally love it if Call of Duty could take a page from that and like give a little more dimension to it.
Right.
I don't know. But there's a new map in Revolution too for the zombies mode that's just awful. Like the zombies part was probably the weakest part of that entire pack. It kind of bothered me that they're charging people $15 for it, but
A map called like Risa or something like that.
Risa.
Risa.
Yeah, and it's just terrible. God, like there's so many places to fall. Like you fall in elevator shafts and you get stuck and no one can find you, and the level design is just awful. Like it's just not good. I didn't enjoy it.
Did you get to experience the DLC gun that they packaged with it for the first time? Yeah.
That's a gun.
It's just another gun.
It's just a gun. It's okay. It's kind of like an SMG hybrid sort of assault rifle, and it's just kind of, I don't know. It's not great. It's not terrible. It'll help you out, I guess, if you're a new player, but it's nothing to write home about.
Cool.
Yep, that's Revolution.
Cool. So I guess we'll just run through, just list off these other games that seem to be looking at the top of the list for new releases for next week and the coming weeks. We've got Dynasty Warriors 7 Empires for PS3, Skyrim Dawnguard for PS3, which is, they're finally rolling around to the PlayStation, getting the content that the Xbox has had forever.
Good grief. Seriously,
We
it's
got
a mess.
yeah, we got the Majestic Map Pack for Halo 4, which is, the more content for Halo 4, the better. It's always something fun to play with for the Halo players out there.
Now, is that a multiplayer map, or is that the Spartan Ops stuff?
I think there's a mixture of the content. I think Spartan Ops they've been adding new content for free as they go. So I don't think there would be much as far as Spartan Ops goes. But as far as I know, the Majestic Map App should just be multiplayer maps.
Okay.
And then we're looking at Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 Plus for the Vita. And those will all be coming out next week.
Good stuff, man.
And beyond that, the games that I'm looking forward to the week after that are the Sims 3 University Life expansion and Sim City.
Now, tell me about this, because you've been writing a lot about that
Oh,
recently.
I played the heck out of SimCity 4. I played the demo. Basically it was a demo, but it was the beta for the new SimCity that's coming out on
Mhm.
March 5th. And it's well made, it's clean, it's crisp. It's not too complex, but it's also not, casual.
Sure.
So it's easy to get into. Uh, the data maps that they give you are really informative, really helpful in developing the city that you're trying to build on. And it should be a fun time when they implement all the multiplayer features, the market system where you're selling your mining materials or oil or whatever you decide to make your city specialize in. It should pick up, and it should be a really popular title. And then I've been a Sims player since 2001 when the original Sims came out. So any new content for the Sims is welcome in my book.
So what are they doing for the university pack that you're looking forward to so much?
They're basically making it so that you can take your Sims to college. It's basically the rehash of the Sims 2 university expansion. So it's going to let you take your young adult Sims to college and take them through their classes and introduce them to social cliques and build relationships in a college setting.
So what is it about The Sims that you love so much?
It's the fact that you can live another life while it's the ability to run a different life than you can do yourself. I don't
Sure.
know. It's like a role playing aspect for me.
No, that's cool. I have a lot of friends actually they're a little bit more casual gamers, but they love the Sims games. They
Mm.
love the hell out of them. I had one friend that played she played Hot Date all the time. She played Superstar all the time. Um, and, like they're fun games. Like my problem with the Sims because I played The Sims 2 at length for a while when I was like this is a long time ago, but
Mm.
my problem with it was that I feel like I didn't get it because like I was just sitting there and I'm like, oh, my sim needs to go to the bathroom. All right, my sim needs a shower. Sim needs to eat. Let's go to.
Looking
It was
back,
just like this
those
constant
games
circle.
those games were really difficult. To keep up with the motives on the older Sims games. At this point, looking back, I'm like, I don't know how I would have possibly managed them without cheats. I use cheats so much in the old games, and in the Sims 3, I haven't needed to at all. It's easier, but not to the point where it's too easy that it's not fun. So
Yeah, I remember using the Rosebud cheat for like, was it infinite money?
yeah, you
This is
type
long.
in Rosebud semicolon colon, hold down the enter key,
Yep.
and it's just ching 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 ching.
Yeah, I do remember doing that. Yeah, I don't know. It was just one of those games. I feel like I was totally missing something. Like I got to the point where I would just freeze everything and just build houses.
Right.
Shoot.
Yeah. That was the fun of it for the original games. And to be honest, looking at Will Wright's goal for the game, it's kind of good that most people enjoyed the building aspect more than the actual living aspect. Because originally it was supposed to just be like an architecture game and the Sims were supposed to be the ones that looked at the house and gave it a grade for you. And then people like The Sims so much that they gave them more of a human aspect to them. So.
I did not know that.
And now it's developed to the point where it's both. It's well designed for the social aspect with the characters as well as the building. And there are still some people that play just for the building.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, my brothers were kind of sick, and anytime they played The Sims, they tried to find the most creative ways to kill them.
There are definitely still people that do that too.
Oh man, yeah, it was pretty funny. They'd have him drown, or they'd
Put them
like
in a
make
1x1 room.
Yeah.
With a wooden floor and a fireplace.
Or they just like make a little hut and like leave no windows or doors on it and just leave them in there.
It's so morbid.
I know, it's pretty awful. My brothers are not serial killers, by the way. They're normal, but...
Well, and ask Jack Thompson, and, he'd say, oh, they play The Sims? They kill Sims? Oh my god, they're going to be serial killers.
Absolutely. Yep. That's
like,
how it works.
When an older person, asks anybody a question like that or brings up that, I'm like, did you play Pong? Well, then you must, be a professional ping pong player,
Yeah, you support dot violence. Yeah, it's insane. I think it was actually Kotaku posted something with like PBS actually did this whole documentary or like this whole like rundown where they were actually objectively looking at video games and saying like these don't necessarily cause violence. It was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's good to see. It's good to see some kind of scientific look at the things because honestly, I don't know. It could be a contributing factor in people that already have issues, but for the everyday normal person, I don't think games develop mental problems.
Well, that's just it, right? You hit on a key point there. People with issues, with pre-existing issues, if you have a distorted view of reality and you're playing like a hyper-violent game, like Postal 2, or something like that, then sure, yeah, that's gonna, probably mess with your head a little bit. But if you are in your right mind and you're kind of functioning normally and you have this meter that says like, hey, this is not acceptable in real life, but in virtual world it's okay, then sure.
That's the reason I play video games in most situations is to do something I can't do in real life. I'm not about to go out and, on Grand Theft Auto, for instance, I'm not about to go out and steal somebody's sports car and go shoot up a bunch of cops.
Yeah, see, Grand Theft Auto is interesting too because it's not a game that I'm in love with, but it's like I've watched my brothers play it over the years and I've played it, and it's one of those games. It's kind of like Saints Row in the sense that it can be so ridiculous, and it's you're going out and you're shooting rocket launchers at people on the street, but that's not necessarily like a power fantasy because most of the time people are looking at the laughing and they're going like this is insane, and you're laughing because that's something that never would happen exactly. In real life. Yeah, exactly. It's just the absurdity of it, I think, that is kind of captivating.
And now I think that on the absurdity factor, that's, people that know me, people that have talked to me a lot, they know my views on Saints Row. I always thought that game, it's been going overboard to be more and more absurd to the point where it's not going to be targeted because it's not realistic. People know that. They're not going to be like, oh, this game is so realistic that people are using it for practice. No, they're not doing that because Saints Row is just wacky. It's not an everyday thing.
Right, whereas, no, it's Saints Row. It's beat someone up with a dildo and blow up some shit and just have a good time. Sorry, can we swear on this?
Yeah, it's just no big deal.
Okay.
But there's with Grand Theft Auto, I think the biggest issue for some people is that it's getting more and more realistic in some situations. There's still like the wacky, let's jump out of an airplane, parachute down, and terrorize the entire city with machine guns. That would never happen in modern day America. If it did, it would be all over the news. But it's not something you would see. So, right. But they're going towards more realistic graphics and more realistic gameplay, and it's scaring. It's scaring a lot of people. So.
Right, and you hit on something interesting that I kind of wanted to. You're talking about kind of the escapism of video games, and playing it in an effort to do stuff that you can't do in real life. If you're a Podcast Beyond fan, if anybody's a Podcast Beyond fan, you might be familiar with the song "The World Is Saved." And if you're not, go check it out. Look up youtube.com. Just look up The World is Saved. It should be one of the first hits there. And it's this really awesome video. It's a song that these guys wrote, and like one of the people animated it, and it's this whole production about beating a game. And it's about why we play games. And it's the kind of that awesome satisfaction you get from being a hero in a different world. Because, you can't necessarily be that here. You don't necessarily have that kind of control. And it's really, really cool, so I totally recommend going and checking that out.
Definitely. Yeah. The escapism, that's why I play games. That's why, if there's a game that I'm doing things that I do in normal and everyday life, I'm probably not going to enjoy it because I could just go do that in everyday life.
Sure.
But if I can do something beyond my abilities in, in
Yep.
real life, everyday, whatever, then I'll probably enjoy it. If it's something that piques my interest, if it's something that's entertaining to me in a video game setting, I'll likely take part. So.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
Well, Cassidy, thank you for joining me this week.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me on.
I hope to have you in the future as well.
I hope to come back.
Great.